Mark Claxton, what's going on in conversations either in Memphis or around the country with police? Because part of the reason the Justice and Policing Act didn't get passed is it really got hung up on this idea of accountability of police officers through the ability to bring civil suits against them. Well, that's one thing, if cops think they've got skin in the game. But the other one is if they actually think they're going to get charged by a district attorney and that their own police chief is going to make public comments and probably comments in court about how they weren't following policy. Does this sort of thing have a material effect with police around the country?
Absolutely. The conversation around the issues involving the death of Mr. Nichols, the killing of Mr. Nichols, resonates throughout police agencies across the nation. So it is very relevant and important and on the forefront of conversation in different police circles. I think what police, especially black police, and I should be more specific, black police are waiting for a further deep dive and examination into some of the racial dynamic that is in play here. We can't ignore the fact that the victim is black, which is sort of typical, but we have 5 offender police officers who are black, at least 5 at this point, and a police chief who's black. And at some point, we're going to have to kind of deep dive into some of the dynamics of race and its role and import in law enforcement. And specifically in this particular case, I think it would be very eye-opening and would point towards some of the larger issues with the toxic police culture that we've been trying to speak about.
Senator London, let me ask you about the report in the New York Times about the Scorpion Unit, in which it said Scorpion Unit emerged as Memphis police pursued a get tough strategy. This is obviously important to politicians when people are complaining about crime. With 5 officers charged with murder, community leaders are now trying to assess how a unit that was supposed to ease the violence in Memphis had instead inflicted an attack so brutal that Chief Davis herself called it heinous and inhumane. The city announced the disbanding of the unit on Saturday, and Chief Davis has called for a review of all of her department's specialized units. Tell me how you weigh this as a legislator. People don't like crime. People call for cops to get tough on crime, but this is not what they thought they were asking for.
Absolutely. What I would say is it's no secret that Memphis has an issue when it comes to violent crime, is that Memphis has, unfortunately, some of the highest homicide rates in the country because of decades of disinvestment in our communities when it comes to education, when it comes to housing, when it comes to jobs, and all of the socioeconomic structures that help create a viable city. Now, because of our issues when it comes to violent crime, yes, the police department has to create specialized opportunities and initiatives to keep citizens safe. Citizens don't need more violent crime in our communities. Right now, we have a lot of juvenile crime going on. And so while we know the Scorpion Unit had a lot of mistakes, what I would say is in efforts going forward to curb violent crime, we need more oversight. We need more rules around what all they can do. Unfortunately, this particular unit did not have enough oversight. Some of the officers who were involved in this particular unit shouldn't have been involved in it. But I won't say that the community doesn't want police to help continue attacking violent crime. What we want to do is put the right people in place to make sure that we can use initiatives and programs that are going to keep people safe and that's not going to allow police officers to take the law into their own hand. Rules are made for a reason. While we put rules, policies, parameters in place, people end up breaking them, including some of our police officers. But on the flip side, because of these rules and parameters we put in place, we were able to hold these people accountable and quickly. So I hope going forward that we learn from this lesson. As we create opportunities to keep people safe, we know what we need to do in order to hire the right people to do this job. But I want to continue to ask the community that we rebuild this trust in our police officers, because until we can reduce the violent crime in this community, we're going to have to figure out how we can heal and move forward.
Wendy, you know, obviously in the wake of George Floyd's death, we had some people in this country calling for the defunding of police, and some people meant that to be a reallocation of resources, and some people meant really defund the police. On the other hand, Mark and I were talking the other day to a former captain, a black woman who was a captain of the police in Maryland, and she said, police culture eats police training and policy for breakfast. Those are the words she used. She said all the training in the world becomes very hard to overcome police culture. whether you're black or white?
I mean, I think that's fair. And I think that whether you put black people or black officers or white officers in a system that devalues black life, you're going to get the same kind of outcome and the same kind of results. You know, I think some of what Senator Lamar says is absolutely right. Memphis, like most major cities in the country, has struggled with increases in homicide rate, although the homicide rate was down in 2022 when compared to 2020 and 2021. I think that in our rush, perhaps, to address crime, we failed to ask the right kind of questions about what kind of policing that we're getting, whether it's too harsh, whether it's too abusive, and whether there could be some resources better devoted to mental health, healthcare, again, investing in neighborhoods and communities. You know, the answer to everything cannot be more policing, but when all you have is a hammer, everything's a nail.